Worlds Collide, issue 251. Oh great, it blatantly spoils for me that they'll both go super on the title page. That deflates the tension. We start out with our time being completely wasted by the villains recapping what happened just one issue ago, wasting comic space. And Tails is shown to still be hurt, and he has a hard time talking, when the writer was still too lazy to tell us his exact injuries. So it's kind of hard for me to get invested in the fact that he's hurt, because I don't feel like he should be. I don't see how he is. And he was blatantly just pushed away by fire like it was a solid object the last time, but suddenly, the most recent time he got hit by fire, now he's hurt. Finally, the Mega Man 1 Robot Masters show up to save the day, because Roll called them for backup. Since it's only Knuckles that's right next to Dr. Light saying not to smash them, hopefully none of the friends of Sonic that can't hear this conversation won't try to attack the robots on their side before seeing them attack the evil robots for them. Knuckles says that him and Proto Man can get Dr. Light and Duo inside, cover the heroes, and Sonic's friends can go for backup. It's interesting to see Dr. Light on the rush jet getting involved in the action. That's pretty cool. And I never expect that of a scientist who just stays at home all day. As the heroes all fly away, Knuckles tells Tails to keep his head down. Is that supposed to be what helps with the concussion? So he has a concussion? I don't really remember that. And then there's some more worthless padding as the heroes actually bother trying to talk Eggman and Wily out of it. And Eggman says that he happily abused the space-time of Wily's zone. Wily glares at him and panics because Eggman never said they'd somehow break their worlds. Again, this concept is very forced and unnecessary. And didn't Eggman already say in front of Wily that this kind of breaking their world thing is happening because the worlds were too fragile the way they were? Eggman explains why Wily has no reason to be worried, because any damage they've done will be erased when they've reshaped everything else. And we see his vision of a roboticized Sonic standing alongside Mecha Sally. Well, that'll be awful nice of him to keep them being boyfriend and girlfriend even after they're roboticized, I guess. He could have been especially cruel and just had them living on the other side of the planet, like all of the characters we're not going to be allowed to see anymore in the reboot will be doing. And Wily says that he needs to tell him these things. I was under the impression they already knew about the universe being threatened. Mega Man says that since he's being forced to stay still, charging his shooter wouldn't blast them out of it. It would only blow his leg off. Now I'm picturing that. And Sonic says that he needs some momentum to smash them out, rather than saying he needs to be able to crawl into a ball, which he's been shown to do multiple times when he was, tied up and should have been able to do that. Or grabbed by a robot. Out of complete nowhere, we immediately cut without a time skip to Dr. Light right in front of the two, shooting electricity that makes the containers holding them vanish, and Dr. Light hugs Mega Man as they're riding on the rush jet towards the light, which can hold all three of them at once apparently. This was a jarring shift. That was the fastest rescue ever. Did Sonic and Mega Man get teleported away and conveniently to Dr. Light? If Mega Man can teleport Proto Man away a few feet, why didn't he just teleport out of the thing that he was trapped in? That would have made a lot more sense. I mean, I thought they were being held still in front of Eggman so they could watch the Genesis Wave happen. And now suddenly they're all alone with Dr. Light, who says that Mega Man can get a boost if he combines with Rush using a super adapter, which he's never done before in the crossover for some reason. Now they're all in a white void as silhouettes. And then Mega Man has two panels of just anime backgrounds behind him not explaining where the hell they are as he upgrades himself. The backgrounds are so lazy at the worst possible moment because I have no idea where they are. How the hell did Dr. Light save them? How did he do that when he should have been right in front of Eggman and Wily, who should have stopped them? We see a giant Eggman-shaped super weapon attacking Proto Man and Knuckles, as Eggman says that they shouldn't draw too much power from the Genesis Chamber. And and Wily lampshades, they're so similar that I called them by the same names. Wily lampshades that the Emerald's powers are supposed to be limitless anyways. So if the writers knew this, he shouldn't have had Eggman say that and reveal this inexplicable problem. Wily tries to shock Knuckles with protective shielding, but then panics about his defenses being offline thanks to Eggman. Then Eggman realizes his weapons are offline, so the two villains have been screwed over by their mutual disloyalty to each other. Go figure. It's like issue 200 all over again, where Eggman was screwed over by the Dark Legion because they didn't like him. Dr. Light says in front of Wires that even if they removed the emeralds, the Genesis Dynamo is in the process of activating. Sonic says they can still use the emeralds. We then see another wall of text from a huge amount of different text bubbles littered all over the page again, most of them in front of the really stupid looking mecha that's self-repairing. As Knuckles says that if he let them steal the Master Emerald, he could have used its power by now to neutralize theirs. The two villains call a truce until this is done. As the Super Genesis Wave has to activate, Sonic and Mega Man stand in front of the emeralds and go super. Sonic tells his friends to get Dr. Light out of here and fall back, and Mega Man says to tell Duo to fall back without explaining why he wants to waste his talents. I guess he doesn't want to risk hurting him in the crossfire, or doesn't have faith in him to get hurt himself. The villains waste time firing everything they've got at people who are both invincible and can fly. I hate it anytime that happens. And Mega Man clears the way of the bombs, telling Sonic to shield his eyes because he probably doesn't get that Supersonic is invulnerable, and would therefore be invulnerable to being blinded too. The heroes attack the space station weapon and destroy it. Logically, this would kill the villains too, since they're in them, although while he did mention ejecting. Supersonic says that they can just chaos control to will reality back to normal, instead of it being like Eggman wanted. He says that he has to be totally focused or he'll mess up. Eggman is furious that he'll undo everything the Genesis Wave just accomplished. If only he could. But sadly, Eggman takes a tantrum to prevent the old continuity we actually care about from being restored, shocking Supersonic. Eggman uses Chaos Control himself and says the rule that he's coming up. Pender says that if he can't have the universe his way, he won't have it at all. Sonic says in disappointment that it's this or nothing, and uses Chaos Control, even though you'd think even with these distractions he would still hold the memories of the old reality in his head and be able to bring back the old world just fine. Eggman fires, he says that it doesn't look right, and there's a flash of light as Sonic panics about what Eggman might have done. I don't know why he's panicking, because I can assume the reboot zone looks exactly the same as the Genesis Wave Sonic Zone at the start of the crossover. I can generously assume that Sonic did recreate his own universe, complete with Sonic being in it, but he was so distracted that he made it so that he created another multiverse that's like the Genesis Wave one, ripping off all the games instead, and got him and Eggman sent there by mistake, since he was made to make a mistake. Therefore, the crossover could happen and lead to both the actual comic continuity continuing and the reboot comic continuity. It's not made exactly clear what exactly Supersonic being distracted with attacks would do to his process. And wait a minute! He's invincible! Why the fuck would him being hit with attacks distract him in the slightest? He shouldn't be able to feel it. It shouldn't cause him any pain. He shouldn't even notice it. So this entire plot development is forced and bullshit, because it entirely hinges on Supersonic not being super enough. Eggman waving his hands in front of his eyes would have been better of an explanation. This issue was by Ian Flynn, and has Sonic and Mega Man somehow get reunited with Dr. Light and saved in the span of literally one panel with no explanation. I guess he used a gadget, but Eggman Wily should have stopped him. They go super, as was spoiled on the title page, and Eggman attacks Supersonic while he's reversing the Genesis Wave, distracting him too much when he's freaking invincible, so that's complete bullshit. Those attacks shouldn't even faze him. And two, even if he's being attacked a little, it shouldn't make him totally forget what his old world was like so he can recreate it. Though I have a hard time believing Sonic would be able to perfectly recreate a world he isn't familiar with every nook and cranny of anyways. He didn't study literally all of world history and geography, so how does this even work? It would have to be different. I get that they lost the rights to the Archie characters, but do they have to get rid of the concepts of Down Under, the Polar Ice Caps, and Mercia Britain and the Dragon Kingdom? Can't they at least bring them back but with different names? Then it'd feel kind of like the same world. I would be able to forgive the loss of the characters if it was still the same world. Can't we just have it implied that the characters are still in the universe, but they just happen to be living on the opposite side of the world and we'll never see them? I don't know why they can't just have it so that the Prime Zone is the one with the actual continuity we're all familiar with, and they're going to say that the comic just continues off in another dimension entirely from now on, branching off. Why do they have to do this? Why do they have to make us try to think that that the multiverse was destroyed. Why can't they just have Sonic and Eggman be transported and rewritten into the wrong zones because Sonic made a mistake? Well, the original continuity was recreated just fine, but we just don't get to see it anymore. The comic got away with mentioning Eggman Nega and his plans as long as they didn't directly show him. Whatever, I'm not even sure if I want to continue on to the reboot. The Fleetway comic is much more interesting, and even the other M Sonic fan comic would be way more interesting and well written than the comic being rebooted to just be unoriginal fanfiction sad AM crossover with the games. I mean, I come to the comics for something original, not to be reminded of how far modern Sonic has fallen. The way that Knuckles is treated like a total idiot is more than proof enough of that.